Hey, friends. This is a totally spontaneous live video that is coming from the feeling of inspiration to share. My intention for this conversation, this exploration, is to feel into and explore some topics that come up in relationship to befriending your body. So, I host a membership space where we engage in practices and introspective reflections about our relationships with our bodies. And I have been feeling called to add a little more talking to the content of this program, but I don't want to expand the length of our practice sessions. They're an hour, which I think makes a really sweet experience. And I feel excited about sharing these explorations with the wider world, not just with people who are in the membership space. So that is the context for how and why I am showing up today, and sort of where the context in what I'm offering that I am sharing this conversation. So, I guess where I want to begin is by just grounding in this notion of befriending the body. I have been on my own journey of coming to a truly nourishing and belonging relationship with my body. And I I want that for everyone. I think that the relationship that we get enculturated into in our bodies is one of such unbelonging. And it's certainly for me, and I know I am so far from alone, uh, led me into a super adversarial and self-loathing relationship with my body. A real self-rejection around how my body looked, moved, felt. Um, that ultimately, because there's this sort of inextricable truth that we are our bodies, although we are also somehow mysteriously not our bodies. When we feel bad about our bodies, when we feel like our bodies are wrong or bad, we feel like we are wrong or bad. And so it's one of the many ways that our culture trains us to reject ourselves from belonging. But of course, our bodies are the fundamental site of our belonging to ourselves, our belonging to the earth, and our belonging to all of existence. We know that the cells of our bodies come from stars. Those stars came together to create Earth and this magical living process that then gave birth to all life, including our lives. And so it serves some mysterious process for us to reject ourselves. And I deeply believe that part of the gift of that process is for us to learn to heal and return to a sense of love and belonging with our bodies. So, I was talking yesterday about my own body journey with a friend, and I'm trying to figure out like how to talk about this journey in a way that doesn't reiterate the harms of the patterning and conditioning of the larger world. And And so, as I'm on my body journey, how do I talk about it in a way that doesn't come out like, oh, you should want your body to be this way, or as you heal your relationship with your body, it will naturally lose weight, look better, be healthier, whatever. Um, because I don't think that a goal oriented relationship with our body is the most nourishing and belonging, right? Like anytime there's a goal, you are already orienting towards the future as a more desirable place, and therefore rejecting yourself and this moment from the perfection that it is. And at the same time, I do want for all of us to have more of a loving and belonging relationship with our bodies. And so, in my membership space, I talk a lot about these rich paradoxes of both and, where on the one hand, we're not going for a goal, and on the other hand, we might be desiring to go in a particular direction. And so, how do we hold both of those things in a spacious and curious and engaging way? And the same is true here, but in particular, this sort of notion of like a material goal, which we often wind up having about our bodies, right? Oh, I want to lose weight being such a common one. And for me, a real site of unbelonging for most of my life, right? That my body is wrong because of how big it is, and that somehow I will only be right when it's smaller, or I can only be happy with my body when it's smaller. And I don't want any of that for myself, and I don't want any of it for anyone else. And so, Befriend Your Body, these conversations and the practice space are not weight loss spaces. They are not um, spaces of cultivating that kind of rejecting goal. Um, one of the things that I'm finding in my journey is that uh, engaging with goals that are affirmative is much more celebratory. So, for instance, I've recently started weightlifting. I did some weightlifting a couple years ago, and then I got COVID and sort of fell out of the habit. But I'm getting back into it, and it is so nourishing and fun and satisfying to get into getting stronger. But first, I have spent like 8 years unlearning the habit um, of like setting all of my body goals as like based on the shoulds of society around me. And and anytime there's a should, it for me, and I think I'm not alone, um, a should is inherently somehow unbelonging. And anytime I'm navigating with a should, I'm also activating my inner anti authoritarian who really doesn't like shoulds. And so now I automatically, anytime there's a should, I've got some kind of fight between my inner selves. And what I'm finding with returning to weightlifting is that my motivation for it is that I feel excited to feel strong. So I'm not doing it because I should get fit or I should get strong or I should get healthy, but because I feel excited about getting strong. I first started lifting weights because I just woke up one morning and I was like, I love the journey of getting stronger in like claiming my personal power, which I have been doing for years through meditation and therapy and healing the wounds and the ways that I habitually made other people responsible for me and my caretaking and made myself responsible for theirs while leaving myself sort of out to dry. And stepping into that personal power has been so awesome. And I woke up with this sense of like, ooh, I want to get strong in my body also. And so that inner spark being the guide is what I want for all of us. And so this is where engaging in regular practices that bring us into connection with our body puts us in touch with those sparks and helps us to start to sort through the curtain of social conditioning that makes it so hard to hear ourselves, to feel ourselves, to be in touch with what is it that I really want, right? I spent so long thinking that what I really wanted in my relationship was to lose weight and be thinner because that was the message that was coming at me from the outside for so long. And and it takes a lot of practice and discernment to get under the layers of conditioning, to push aside the layers of curtains that separate us from ourselves, from the spark of divine belonging, that spirit, that mysterious self that that is actually our guide, is our brightest and most connected guide through this life. And so, in the Befriend Your Body practice space, we engage in meditation, we engage in embodied practices because they are so helpful in getting in touch with that true voice and learning, oh, this is the feeling, this is what it feels like when I am chasing a goal that I have been told to have, that I've been conditioned to have, that I just sort of like assume is the goal because it's what I've been told for so long. And what does that feel like? What's the flavor and texture of that? How does it land in my body? How does it motivate me and demotivate me at the same time? And then also, what does it feel like? What does it sound like? How does it show up when that at first so quiet inner voice sort of sparks up and starts to make itself known? That intuition, that inner knowing, that just sense of like, ooh, this is where I need to go, or this is what I need to do. And so often that takes us in a really um, it's funny to call it a counterintuitive direction, because of course it's actually a totally intuitive direction. Um, but it is also counterintuitive to the training that we've received, to the conditioning that we've received. So it goes against what we think is our instinct or what we think makes sense, um, and pulls us sort of in this other direction. And so the beauty of embodied practices is that they help us to hear those messages, they help us to trust those messages, and they help us to have the strength to try to do the thing that doesn't make sense and find out what it's like and how it feels. And part of the magic and mystery of this journey, of this experience, is that you have to make mistakes along the way. I wish we had a different language for this, because the like, even calling it a mistake is already sort of presupposing that it's a wrong step. But what's actually going on is that we have to go off the path in order to find out, like, oh, that doesn't feel right, that feels bad to me. And you have to go off the path in lots of different ways. You have to go too far in the direction of like being gentle and soft and easy with yourself. um, you have to go too far in the direction of being rigid and rule bound with yourself. You have to go too far in the direction of attending to and doing the things that you've been told by the outside. You have to go too far in the direction of doing the opposite of what you've been told by the outside. And all of those can feel like mistakes, like, oh no, now I have hurt myself, or I've hurt someone I'm close to, or I've done something that feels bad. And now I'm beating myself up about it, or feeling guilty or ashamed, or whatever. Like, all of these experiences and feelings have to come up as part of the journey of learning to attune to what feels right to you, what feels whole to you, where and how do you feel your most true and aligned self. And that process happens in the body and through the body, in the moment and through the moment. So, whether you want to join Befriend Your Body, you are welcome and invited. The first week is free, so you can check it out and get a feel for yourself if it's right for you. Or you just want to engage in practices on your own, which you absolutely can and should do. Um, if you're going to do that and you are not already a meditator, just start with mindful meditation. There are great apps out there. I started with Headspace and I found it super supportive. Um, Team up with a buddy for accountability and mutual support and cheering, or just give yourself a star on your calendar every day that you do it to give yourself some support and encouragement. Meditation will start you on a path towards personal transformation in your body and in your whole life that will just like it is a joyful journey. Not every moment is joyful. Many of the moments are uncomfortable, but the journey of coming home to yourself is, I believe, the core journey that we are all here to have. Um, and I am here to share my journey, to talk about the journey, to create support and celebration and encouragement and spaces of practice, reflection, and experience so that we can all be moving in that direction. Here we are, it's October 22nd, 2024. We are living through a crisis of climate change, a crisis of genocide, a crisis of the way that we live is not working for us. And because I fundamentally believe that the universe loves us and is on our side, I believe that all of these difficulties that we are facing um, are for the purpose of helping us transform. We One of the only ways that we change, or times that we change, is when things feel bad enough that we are forced into change. And I believe that the collective currents right now are about forcing us into change. And these practices, these reflections are really about tuning into what can I do right now to support change and transformation in the direction of love, joy, power, and belonging. So I am so grateful for you being here. Whenever you find this, whenever this finds you, I hope it serves you so well. And I hope I will see you in a future conversation, a future space. May we all be well. May we all heal and find our way home to belonging.